If you're not ranked and you're a heavyweight, you can spar with Jon Jones, but you might get him out of the UFC 295 main event slot against Stipe Miocic. At least that's what Lord Kong Don'Tale Mayes was unfortunately the training partner to have done, defending the Jones takedown, tearing the pec. But Don'Tale Mayes, he was also getting ready for a fight, and he's going to be taking on Brazil's Colmela, Rodrigo Nascimento. This is a guy who, at this point, 10-1, the lone loss to Chris Daukaus. He was favored to beat Daukaus. And since then, it's been an interesting ride. And for Don'Tale Mayes, apart from the Jon Jones fanfare, he knocked out the legend, one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. All the fights that he's had, the former champ, Andrei Arlovski. Don'Tale Mayes was able to go out there and finish him his last time out. So Mayes gets to move forward. He gets to take on Nascimento. Nascimento, you'll remember, he's on a 2-fight win streak, but you won't remember them. Why? Because they were awful fights. He has a split decision win over Tanner Boser and a split decision win over Ilir Latifi. Matt, those fights don't put your name on a poster, but fuck it. Let's put them on the main card right before the co-main event. Unranked heavyweights. They, for some reason, they court favor with the UFC. And we get another spot here. So, Matt, I know every Don'Tale Mayes fight I talk about something he never uses unless he's fighting Josh Parisian. And that's his judo. Slamming that cup into Parisian's face time and time again. And for Colmela, what do we know him for? His boxing. But it hasn't looked all that great. And he's looked a little sluggish his last 2 fights.
And that is the disappointing thing to see, because that was his X factor in the heavyweight division. He's not a big kicker. He's not the greatest striker of all time. But his strikes are really fast when he's able to throw his boxing combinations. And when he gets into range, I like the way he's able to roll with some of the shots coming back his way. But you're right to bring up, he has looked a little bit sluggish. And I do wonder if it's the threat of the takedown coming back his way. Not that Ilir Latifi's the greatest fighter of all time, but if he was going to win that fight, he was going to use the offensive wrestling, and Tanner Boser to a lesser degree, but still he can go out there and get it done with the wrestling as well. I have a hard time with this fight though, because for me, I thought Mayes did look decent against Arlovski, but there's also another part of me that says, is that just the end of line for Andre? Because Arlovski was able to hold on for like 8 extra years just fighting prospects, because he changed his style and he wasn't getting knocked out, right? He was much more of a volume heavy guy. I just don't know if he can eat those shots anymore, so there's a part of me that thinks Don'Tale Mayes has put it all together, and his boxing's good. He's got nice hands. He can also throw in combination. But there's also a part of me that says, hey, Andrei Arlovski's really old, and he's been in more hard fights than anyone could ever imagine.
Is he Steve Winwooding it? Is he hitting that higher love? I mean, he's a part of the champ camp. Now, think about that champ camp. Maurice Green is there, and Walt Harris is there. And listen, I mean, the athletic commissions, the USADAs of the world, they're not his friend. But when you look at it for Rodrigo Nascimento, same thing can be said. Go back 3 fights ago. It's a no contest on Nascimento's record. He loses the first round to Alain Badeau, a real thing that happens, and then he rallies through and finishes him in the second round. It's a no contest because the Nevada State Athletic Commission, a little bit of ritalinic acid. Listen, I mean, you're a baseball player and you want to be able to see that pitch coming in. Mash those dingers. Well, hey, a little bit of that, a little bit of this. But for Nascimento, it's a no contest on his record. Again, I think with that and the time away, we just haven't seen that same Chris Striker that we saw when he was taking on some of those bigger names. And I mentioned it for Nascimento, coming out of a big gym, American top team, Mike Brown over there, training the big guys, Pahumpa as well. So we'll see what version that we get of Nascimento. 13 fights right now as we tape this, 13 Brazilians, all littered down the card, none of them facing off against each other. We'll see if that kind of hometown rub for the favorite.
Does the winner of this get a ranked opponent? Because I brought it up earlier in the card, right? It feels like there's the top 15 in heavyweight, and then a lot of guys outside of that could beat each other on most given days. I struggle with where you project either one of these guys with a good win.
I hope Nascimento does, because he is ranked, so I hope for Nascimento's sake he does get a ranked fighter, and I think a guy like Jairzinho Rosenstrike,
that's a great call, honestly,
might be the next guy for that. Just style for style, don't give Jairzinho another wrestler.
I just worry with Nascimento, if he goes out there and wins another really close fight like the last two, because you're right, they were not fun to watch at all. No. If he does go out there and repeats that, I just feel like they're going to have him be another stepping stone for another guy. But when he's able to put together the boxing, it is really nice because he has that great threat of the jiu-jitsu as well in the back pocket. And I do think his grappling, if he's able to get on top of a guy like Don'Tale Mayes, could really overpower him.
Like he did when he submitted Don'Tale Mayes years ago, because that's right. This is a rematch, and Nascimento is 1-0. He was able to get the win over Mayes a number of years ago. Matt, we have a look at the odds in this one. Nascimento favored in the rematch. Baby, now we got Bad Blood, Matt, and Taylor's version, 1989.
Kendrick Lamar going to be there?
I don't know. We'll see. But Matt, when we do have a look at this one, I'm going to say over under 80% Nascimento in the second
I'll
fight.
say over. They've been wild.
And it's way over. 1,332 total votes, 90% Nascimento, 44% by decision, 35% by submission, 14% by knockout. For the 10% that have Mays, 70% by knockout. I think Nascimento beats him again. I think it's a little bit of mind games. It's a little bit of fluffing it and getting those 2 wins in a row. You get confident when you're back home. You hit your stride. Nascimento gets a win and holds a spot in the rankings.
No, I think it's a great point. I couldn't agree more. I've also got Nascimento.
Matt, some big time fights on this card. Let us know who you have in this matchup. Both of us going with Colmela, Nascimento to get the win. It's one half of the Flying Bonfim brothers next. Gabriel Bonfim is going to be taking on Nicholas Dalby. You're not going to want to miss it. Keep it locked in with Fight Night Picks. We always say, let's get into it.